So most people use ChatGPT like a simple chatbot. A lot of people are using ChatGPT like as an alternative to Google. You just go into ChatGPT, you ask a question, and it gives you an answer, and that's just about it. The reality is that ChatGPT has quietly evolved into something much bigger over time. There are features inside ChatGPT that can completely transform what you can do with it right now. And the surprising thing about it is that most people never even think about using them, and these features are actually hidden in plain sight. So in this video, I'm going to show you 4 powerful ChatGPT features that are hidden in plain sight. And I want to assure you that once you start using them, you would probably never go back to using ChatGPT the same way again. So let's get right into it. Let me first start by saying something most people don't even realize ChatGPT can do, okay? Most people know that you can sort of like generate images with ChatGPT. That is common knowledge. A lot of people are already generating images with ChatGPT. The process is like you go into ChatGPT, type a prompt, and then it'll create something from scratch. So like the image you see here, I didn't necessarily just create a prompt. Like I have a process I go through when I'm sort of like generating cover images for my YouTube videos or like my LinkedIn newsletters and stuff like that. I have a process in which I go through to generate this. If you're a content creator or like you want me to do a course on this, just let me know in the comment section below, because there are a lot of tricks I have up my sleeves when it comes to like using AI tools for things like this. But then yeah, a lot of people are already generating images with ChatGPT, so that's not new. But what people don't really know is that you can actually edit specific parts of an image directly inside ChatGPT, right? So a lot of people will come into ChatGPT, like if you generate an image and you probably don't want something specific about it, people come into ChatGPT and then prompt the entire image, right? But what's even a lot more effective is using this select area functionality here, right? So you can basically just click on select area and then you can highlight the area you want. So maybe I just want to change the font here to, let's say, yellow. What you can just do is you can just highlight it, and once you highlight it, it's gonna pop up here and say like describe the edits you want. And then in there, I'm gonna come in here and say maybe change the font color to yellow or something, right? And then what it's gonna do is that it's gonna basically focus on just this exact spot that I'm talking about, right? And so it's really good because instead of you having to regenerate the entire image, you're just selecting a specific area of the image and you're just telling ChatGPT that this is the exact area I want to change, right? And it's good because like it's faster that way, and you are just simply highlighting the section you want, right? And ChatGPT will basically go ahead and regenerate the portion of that image. The advantage of this is that like the thing about AI is good with guardrails, right? So if you just prompt it and you're like change the font color to yellow, right? And let's say there are multiple fonts here in this image, for instance, it will probably go ahead and change all the fonts in the image to yellow, but maybe you just need like a specific section of the font to be changed to yellow. That's a very good advantage of having the ability to just like edit a specific area. And I think this is incredibly powerful for things like YouTube thumbnails, right? If you're a content creator on YouTube, for instance, you may want to be like monitoring your analytics backend. You realize that, okay, some thumbnails perform better than other thumbnails, right? So this is a good way for you to A/B test in a way. Like you can sort of like generate multiple color variations and then you can upload them, and it's just like a simple change you have to do. If you have to do things like marketing graphics, right? This is also another easy way for you to just make all the edits you want. Or maybe sometimes there are like small tiny mistakes, right? So for instance, if I expand on this, maybe there's something about my lips I want to change or something about my facial expression I want to change. You can basically just like highlight that specific area. Maybe I want to look like someone who is smiling, or maybe I want to look like someone who is frowning. You can basically just like highlight that specific area and the edit to be made for you as well. There are things you can also do, like you can also highlight things like the clothing. So for instance, if you want to change like the clothing, you can do so. If you want to add objects, maybe I want to add like a computer on here, I can just select the area and then describe the edits. In many ways, it feels like you're having Photoshop powered by AI, but without you having to need like design skills or any of that kind of things. And so if you create content, you run a business, or you build products, then this feature alone can save a huge amount of time. Now let's move on to the second feature, right? So the second feature is custom GPTs, right? And I'm sure like you've probably seen it around, you probably don't even know what custom GPTs are, but most people overlook custom GPTs, right? Most people come into ChatGPT and they start typing questions and they do it all over again. Like they use the same prompts every single day. And you may think that, oh, I'm just like prompting this once every day, but it's just time you are sort of like spending every day writing the same prompt inside ChatGPT, right? So what you can actually do is you can actually create your own custom AI tools inside ChatGPT, and this is what I call custom GPTs. And I have a lot of like custom GPTs in here, right? So instead of you having to explain what you want to do every single time, you can configure like a GPT once and it would always behave the way you want, right? Let me show you how you can configure a GPTs. For instance, I have a GPT here called transcript to real transformer, right? And what this GPT does is that it just turns raw transcript. So when I shoot a YouTube video, for instance, all I have to do is upload the transcript in here and it will just generate multiple reels for me, and I can just use those reels for like my shorts on TikTok, my shorts on YouTube, my shorts on LinkedIn. So it saves me a lot of time because I don't have to always come in and script it. It's just helping me repurpose my content. And I have a lot of like GPTs I use myself for other parts of my business as well. And if you want to create your own custom GPT, you can just click on explore GPTs. If you click on create here, you can describe what you want and then the AI will create it for you. But if you want to configure it yourself, then you can basically put in the name, whatever you want to do, right? So for instance, I gave an example of like transcript to reels, right? So you can put your name in here, you put in the description, you give it the instructions, conversation starters, knowledge base. Knowledge base, you can feed it sample reels you've done in the past so that it can learn from your brand voice and the way your style is and everything, so that when you decide to prompt it with, let's say, a transcript, it will be able to sort of generate the scripts for you and it would not be so different from what you've been doing every time. You can also assign capabilities, right? So if you wanted to have the ability to search the web, for instance, create canvases, image generation, code interpreter, or data analysis, like you can do all that in here and it's amazing. And once you've created this, you basically have like a specialized AI assistant that does a specific job for you. And so, for example, like I've already talked about my experiences with sort of like using my transcripts to generate reels and shorts for my content. People ask me like, how am I able to like create content and do all that? It's just a matter of like knowing how to repurpose your content and knowing how to do it efficiently, right? There's also anything having to do that as well. But today I'm just focusing on ChatGPT. So let's focus on that. Okay, let's focus on that. And the other things you can use it for, like you can use it as your research assistant, right? So when, let's say, you come across like a new AI tool or a new trend, you can have like a custom GPT that is basically summarizing all the information and organizing it in a way that is easier for you to understand. You can imagine how powerful this can get for yourself and for your business. So now instead of having just one custom GPT for something, you would have like multiple custom GPTs or multiple collections of AI tools that are sort of like tailored to the way you are. And this is good. Like if you're a creator, you're an entrepreneur, you're a developer, you're an analyst, this can completely, and I mean completely, change how you use AI day to day. Now the third hidden feature or the third feature, and I mentioned that all these features are actually in plain sight, but a lot of people don't actually pay attention to them. So the third feature I use a lot as well is the projects feature, right? And with the projects feature, what I've done is I've also provided instructions to most of these projects, right? So for instance, I can just call this test for now, and if I click on create projects right now, I can sort of like add instructions. But let me just explain what the projects features do, right? Like you probably experience this problem a lot if ChatGPT is like your main go-to AI assistant too, right? So like you start a conversation, you ask a few questions, you come back a week later, and then suddenly the context is gone, and then you have to start all over again. So the projects are just there to sort of solve this exact problem. So instead of having random conversations scattered everywhere, you can organize your work into dedicated project spaces. So for example, in here, right, I just created a test, but let me just delete it and let me show you like how I really use projects, right? So I have this project called YouTube content. So I have projects for like my courses, my content planning, everything, right? So YouTube content, for instance, in here, like everything I want to do regarding my YouTube content, like if I'm doing strategy work, if I'm doing anything, it's in here, right? So I have a project created for it. And yeah, so anytime let's say like I start with an idea and then I forget, right? I can just come into, I know that it's organized under my YouTube content. I don't need to go down and search through all like the chats I've had. I can just come under YouTube content and I know that, okay, this is here, right? So for instance, I was working on channel growth strategy, and that would lead me to like my next topic, but I was working on my channel growth strategy, for instance, and because I already already have a project opened in here for my YouTube content. If like anytime I want to come back and work on it, I can basically just come in under the YouTube project section and I can find it there. And so it's not gonna get lost. I just have to continue on top of that. So because everything now lives inside one project, ChatGPT understands the context of what you're working on. And like I mentioned, you can also add in like instructions to even give ChatGPT a lot more context as well, right? So this is good, right? So having projects is helpful because it can sort of transform ChatGPT from like a simple Q&A tool into something closer to an AI workspace for your own project. And so once you start using projects this way, it becomes a lot more easier for you to stay organized and productive as well. Now, the final feature I want to talk about is basically the agent mode. And you can use agent mode in your projects as well, right? My credits for my agent mode is finished, so I couldn't demo it for you as well. But then it's been so helpful for me because this feature sort of points towards where AI is going next, because you ask a question, it gives an answer, you ask another question, it gives you an answer. But with agent mode, it allows ChatGPT to actually carry out more complex tasks automatically, right? So I was trying to sort of like, again, do some analysis on my channel and everything, and I was just able to switch into agent mode. To be able to switch into agent mode, like I mentioned, my credits are off, but you just have to use /agent mode. And if you wanted to go search YouTube, if you wanted to go search the web, if you wanted to do all those things on your behalf, it would do. If you wanted to run, let's say, competitor analysis, right? So for instance, I have like an AI tutorial YouTube channel. So if I wanted to run like, let's say, competitor analysis, I can basically switch to agent mode and it would go on YouTube and it would basically check on like all the tutorial channels that are doing AI, things they are doing well and things I can implement as well to help improve my channel. Or likewise, I can also delegate a task to the AI agent inside ChatGPT and it would perform that as well on my behalf. And so using the agent mode inside ChatGPT is where AI starts to move from being just a chatbot to something closer to an AI assistant that can actually do work. I do have a course on LinkedIn Learning called ChatGPT Productivity Assistance, where I go deeper into like using the agent mode for like things like email management, because if you're in agent mode as well, you can connect your Gmail, you can connect Notion, like you can connect so many other tools inside ChatGPT. So if you're already working in those ecosystems, you can connect them into ChatGPT, and it's a lot more easier for you to like work across those tools as well. If you want, for instance, to create a task from ChatGPT inside Notion, you can do that using the agent mode. So I'd recommend that you go watch my course on LinkedIn Learning. I'm going to leave it on the screen, or I'm going to link it in this video somewhere so that you can go watch it. But yeah, and these are just like 4 features that I've talked about. There are a lot more features inside ChatGPT because it's getting better and better. The models are also getting smarter and the workflows are also getting autonomous, right? So if you've only been using ChatGPT to ask questions, you're really only seeing a small part of what it can do. There are a lot of features, and I've talked about editing images, building custom GPTs, organizing work with projects, and using agent mode. And all these features are sort of like turning ChatGPT into something much bigger than just a chatbot. And it's starting to look more like an operating system, in my opinion, where you can sort of create tools, you can run workflows, and you can manage entire projects. And at the end of the day, the people who learn how to use these features early would have a huge advantage as AI becomes more integrated into the way we work. If you want, I can also show you some of the exact custom GPTs and workflows I use in another video, or I can package this into a course as well so that you can subscribe to it or something along those lines. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are. If you're already using these features, let me know as well. If there are other features you think would be great for other people to use as well, comment them in the comment section below. But yeah, I do a lot of tutorials on AI automations. I have some cool tutorials on OpenAI as well. So if you're interested, I'm gonna leave them on the screen so that you can go check them out. Do subscribe to my channel. That is it for today's video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.